So we've spoken in generalities, and I realize that the interest rate is it can change from day to day. I mean, in fact, sometimes it can change from morning to night. But about what are we talking? I mean, you said it jumped pretty good. About what are we talking about right now?
So the 30-year rate today is sitting at about 7.3%. So and of course, I'm sure Monday it'll change again. But it was at about 6.75. So it, jumped up about 3/4 of a point, back and forth. It just is a little bit all over the place, but anywhere between 7 to 7.5 is probably what we'll see. I would guess probably the rest of March, the rest of the month. So now I will say the 15-year rate is sitting at about 6.5%. So not quite a whole point less. But, hey, that's some pretty good savings. I mean, the savings in two ways. One, you're saving 1%, but think about this. You're also in debt for half the time, guys. So, because last time I checked, 15 is, half of 30. So you can cut that down, cut your indebtedness time down. The other thing is a tremendous amount more of your payment goes to principal when you're on that 15-year mortgage because the time's shorter. And, I've always been a fan of that, so I highly recommend you taking a look at it. And, some clients are also looking into the adjustable rate products. Now, I'm not a huge advocate of them other than in times like this, it's something to take a look at. So I give you an example. Your 5-year adjustable rate mortgage, it's at 6.3. So it is 1% less than the 30-year mortgage. Here's the cool thing. It's locked in at the 6.3 for 5 years. It will not change. Now, year 6, it certainly could potentially go up. It is possible. It depends on what the rates are doing at that time. And you have to look at that. I actually probably should have gave you the numbers on the 7-year arm because traditionally we see people making moves somewhere around year 7, 8, and 9. And so if you're only going to be in the house, let's just say for the 7 years, and you can save 1% in interest by doing the 7 years, and you're going to sell it anyway, why would you finance it for 30 if you know you're only going to be sitting there for 7? So just something to think about. Now, when the rates are at 2.8, adjustable rate didn't make any sense to me at all. But in today's world, it may be something to consider, and the fact that you're locked in for 7 years at that rate, but if rates drop down to 4.5, well, you can refinance out of that product just like you can with any, consumer-based home mortgage. So, the question is really, is it a good time to buy or not? And I mean, to me, it's always a good time to buy. That's just the way that I look at it. I don't necessarily buy the home I'm going to live in for financial reasons. I buy it to create the lifestyle that I want for my family. So based on supply and demand, I would certainly consider buying right now. Even old Dave Ramsey agrees. Keith, he says, buy now, buy now, buy now. And here's his position. He believes home values are going to continue to rise for the next 5 to 6 to 7 years, and that rates will eventually fall. Now, think about that. You can lock into a better price today by buying the home now. If rates go down, you always have that refinance option, right? And so you can always buy the rate down or refinance down. But here's where you save. You save because you purchased at a much lesser price. I mean, homes in the Triad, think about this, guys, went up $10,000 last month. So I do know this. It is way better to buy at 7% interest rate than it is to add another $50,000, $60,000, $75,000 to the house price because you waited 2 or 3 years.